Hey, what's up you guys? Yes, welcome back to another conspiracy theory video. Now I just have to give you guys a huge warning. This video is going to involve some incredibly dark and deeply disturbing theories. And some of them aren't even theories. Some of them involve suicide, Hurricane Harvey, and child molestation. So I'm warning you up front, this is going to be a very, very intense and possibly triggering video. And if you want to click off and leave, I completely understand. But for those of you who decided to stick around, I warned you. We're going to be talking about the dark, dark world of child molesters in Hollywood. So first, let's talk about Elijah Wood. So Elijah is a huge actor, and he's most known for The Lord of the Rings. But he's been in Hollywood since he was a little kid. I mean, do you remember when he was really little and he was in that movie Flipper?
What's his name? His name is Flipper.
Well, not that long ago, he came out and said that he believes that there is a conspiracy to cover up all of the big Hollywood agents, managers, and directors who are molesting young actors. Okay, now first let's talk about a documentary that came out a couple years ago called An Open Secret. Now this documentary talks about all the child abuse that goes on in Hollywood that nobody talks about. It was even marketed as the film Hollywood doesn't want you to see. Now this isn't just some random documentary that some crazy conspiracy theorist like me would have made. This was directed by Amy Berg, and she's been nominated for an Oscar for another documentary she made. So clearly, she knows what she's talking about. And the stuff in this documentary is dark.
You'll get signed by a label, you can star on Disney Channel. You know, what kid wouldn't want that, right?
So there's a bunch of stories in the documentary about child stars who are molested by their managers and their agents. And there's even one moment where one of the child stars is secretly recording his manager while he talks about him molesting him.
I remember you asked me if I ever did anything with a guy before. I was not interested at 12.
You're not recording this, right?
Now, one of the most intense parts of the documentary is when it tells the story of a man named Brian Peck. Now, Brian Peck is an actor that's been in a ton of kids' TV shows. You might remember him from All That.
Pickle Boy. His pickles taste bad.
Well, allegedly, while Brian was filming these kids' TV shows, he was also molesting a kid. In 2004, Brian Peck was convicted of a lewd act against a child and oral copulation of a person under 16. Now, in the court documents, it says he was charged with 11 counts. Lewd act upon a child, sodomy of a person under 16, sexual penetration by a foreign object, and many more. Well, he served 16 months in prison, and then he was released. Now, you would think after that he would be banned from Hollywood, right? 2 years later, he was back on TV. And not just any TV, he was back on kids' TV. That's right, after being convicted of molesting a child, they put him on a kids show. So in 2006, he had a part on The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody. And the creepiest part, he played the voice of a mirror that told underage kids how they look.
Okay, these are the nicest things I own. What do you think of this one? This one?
I don't think so.
Yeah, literally the voice of a mirror. You can see his name in the credits. They weren't even hiding it. And the things they had him saying as the mirror honestly feel so creepy after you know his past.
I'm here to take you on a little trip. Come on.
Step into me.
Okay, I think you've been going a little heavy on the glass cleaner.
Trust me on this, sweetie. Have I ever steered you wrong before?
Yeah, and then there's even a part where she goes inside of him.
Look closer. Closer.
The scariest part about all of this, if you go to his IMDb page, he worked a lot, and most of them were kid shows. And for some reason, nobody cares. Nobody's firing him. Nobody is saying no. They are letting him work. Now we're going to talk about another person in Hollywood that continues to get work who is a child molester. Have you seen the movie Jeepers Creepers? It's a movie about a monster that finds people, eats them, and sucks the meat right off their bones. Now what if I told you that that movie was written and directed by a convicted child molester? That's right. Victor Salva was convicted of sexual misconduct with a 12-year-old boy in 1988. Now this is where it gets crazy. The 12-year-old boy that he molested was starring in a movie that Victor was directing. The movie was called Clown House, and it was a horror movie about 3 young boys who were being hunted by a group of psychotic clowns. And if you watch that movie and think about the fact that the main character is actually getting molested by the director, it makes it even creepier. So the star of Clown House was 12-year-old Nathan Forrest Winters. Now, while they were filming the movie, Victor, the director, would ask Nathan to stay after they were done shooting for some extra rehearsals. Now, during these rehearsals, Victor would force Nathan to have oral sex with him. And while they did it, Victor kept the cameras rolling. He wanted to keep the footage for his child porn collection. Now, eventually, Nathan told his parents what was going on, and the cops raided Victor's house. They found a bunch of child porn, including the tapes of Nathan giving him oral pleasure. Now, Victor was sentenced to prison after this, and only had to serve 15 months. That's right, 15 months for literally raping a 12-year-old that he was filming in a movie. What? Well, you would think after that, he would be done. Nope. 7 years later, he directed a huge movie called Powder. Yeah, a big budget movie that was in theaters, was directed by him, and it was produced by, you guessed it, Walt Disney Company. Yeah, the same company that employed Brian Peck on The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody after he molested kids. Now they're giving this other molester a huge budget movie. Well, then years later, Victor went on to direct Jeepers Creepers. And when you know the backstory of Victor and what he's done, it makes that movie extra scary. Especially the part where the creeper is on the back of a school bus and he's licking the windows while he looks at underage kids. Well, now Victor has a new movie coming out, Jeepers Creepers 3. Well, people are pissed, so pissed that they even canceled the premiere of the movie. And now it's not even getting like a wide release. I think it's literally only going to be in one theater for like one night. Well, when Nathan Forrest Winters found out that there was going to be another Jeepers Creepers movie by the man that molested him when he was 12, he said this: "It is my belief that we as a whole in this country have been too afraid to face such an unspeakable topic and continue to turn a blind eye, which has allowed these predators of our children to go unchecked for too long." Now, Nathan is lucky because he's alive. A lot of child stars who are molested grow up, can't take the pain, and kill themselves. One of the most famous child stars who took their own life was Jonathan Brandis. Now, when he was a kid, he was in so many movies. He was in the Neverending Story movies. He even had a huge part in the original It, and he was incredibly talented.
Georgie.
Well, years later, when Jonathan was 27 years old, his depression got too bad. On November 11th of 2003, he hanged himself in his Los Angeles apartment. Now, he did not leave a suicide note, but his friends believe that his depression was about his waning career. But many people look back and wonder what happened. How did an actor so good grow up to be so depressed? Well, in 1995, he talked about the fear he had of losing his career.
It's a really tricky time. I've seen guys my age, my friends, that haven't been working for a year because they got off a show or they did a film and it came out, didn't do so well, whatever.
Now listen, it has never been confirmed, or I don't even know if it's been suspected that he was molested as a kid, but honestly, I would not be surprised. Just look at some of these professional headshots that they had him take at such a young age. Yeah, shirtless, and definitely under the age of 18. And look at this one. Ugh. Everything about that photo shoot makes me super uncomfortable. Now, once again, I'm not saying he was molested, but he definitely was being taken advantage of in a lot of ways. And unfortunately, it ended in death. Now, this theory that Elijah Wood was talking about, that there's tons of child molestation going on right under our noses, is still around. I'm not going to go into it because I don't want to get sued, but I have heard so many stories of people that I know who have been on sets with young people who might be getting taken advantage of. And then when you bring it to the attention of the executives or the people in charge, they act like you're crazy. And they act like it's not real. But I think it is real. And I think it goes way deeper than we could ever imagine. I mean, just like the poster for the new Descendants 2 Disney movie says, "Long live evil." And evil is definitely alive in Hollywood. So there has been some pretty dark rumors about some people in charge over at Nickelodeon for a while. And recently, a thread on Twitter started to go viral. Now, besides the fact that there are some pretty sexual and creepy images in some of these Nickelodeon shows, there's also some very creepy jokes that probably shouldn't be in a kid's show.
One time, my brother found a vacuum cleaner in our church basement. He took it home, and now he keeps it in his room.
Well, you should call the church and tell him he has it.
Oh, they wouldn't want it back.
Yeah, she's referring to a young boy using a vacuum to suck his dick on a kid show. Now, they also call out that the word hobknocker is used in iCarly.
Oh yeah, do you guys remember Wade Collins? That obnoxious hobknocker from America Sing?
Well, here is the definition of hobknocker. When a guy hits you in the face with his penis.
One might call him hobnoxious. Oh, Carly. Anyway.
And then the thread goes on to show some more creepy visuals. I mean, this one is,
I'm thirsty.
And then we get to the foot fetish.
Dang, dude. That's some soft footage.
Oh, that's what I said.
I mean, really. Let's be serious here. That's a nice foot.
Right? I know.
Now, if you're a fan of some of these shows, you might remember that there's a lot of feet involved. In iCarly, you see one of the characters getting her foot rubbed. In Victorious, you see Ariana Grande literally trying to suck her own toes. And there's so many creepy foot moments in these shows. I mean, going to squirt ketchup on them. Miranda Cosgrove staring at them. Two young girls putting their feet up to the camera. There's even a behind-the-scenes picture of Ariana standing next to a foot, pointing at it. And then on the official Sam and Cat Twitter, it said this: Sam and Cat tomorrow, right on the bottom of your foot, take a pic and use hashtag Sam and Cat Saturday. We'll retweet and follow until our fingers get sore. And a lot of kids did. All of these children wrote on their feet, took pictures of them, and posted them on Twitter. And then, of course, there's other moments in the show that look even more graphic. And then this.
Come on! Give up the juice!
But I think the foot thing is what weirds me out the most, because foot fetishes are a huge deal, and having kids show their feet and talk about it that much is fucking weird. And then, of course, there's little things, like if you look in the background of the episodes, you might see a hidden penis on a wall. I mean, it's not that big of a surprise that kids' TV shows might do some evil stuff. I mean, the fact that Disney approved a quarter ride that looked like this, it just proves that there might be some evil people in charge of kids' entertainment. And maybe they're trying to get in the minds of kids and make them evil. I mean, think about it. Who's the biggest kids' entertainer right now? And would you say he's doing some pretty evil stuff?
We found a dead body.
Yeah.